This meeting is being live streamed. Okay.
So we are
Brush your
we are
teeth.
live streaming now. I'm just going to check to see if anyone's in the waiting room. I don't see anyone. We do have a quorum, and I would turn the meeting over to you, Mayor Edie, to begin.
Okay, just before we call the meeting to order, just I have my all my phone systems with me in my room here. My oldest grandson, his girlfriend are in the process of trying to have a baby, and so this has been going on since 8 o'clock this morning. So I'm kind of anxious for that phone call or whatever is going to come in. So if something rings, I'll try to mute myself really quickly. Maybe just excuse me on that. I appreciate it.
Okay,
We'll call
Grandpa.
the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Your Worship.
We'll ask if there's any, we'll ask for the calling of the roll. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Mayor Edie,
Present.
Reeve Eamon, Councillor Koulis,
Present.
Councillor Evans, Councillor Hines,
Present.
Councillor Jameson,
Present.
Councillor Sidney.
Present.
We have a quorum, Mayor Edie.
Okay. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Okay, hearing none. I will be turning part of the meeting over to Clerk Bulmer. He has the motions to read. I don't have the motions, so we'll turn it over to Clerk Bulmer to read the first motion.
Okay, so council would have received earlier today a revised report from through Deputy Clerk Charkavy from Director Hill. And so the first motion is to simply receive that report. I'll read the motion that Director Hill's report dated October 19th, 2021, concerning the demolition of existing courts, new court construction, proposed fees, and memorandum of understanding be received. I'll let you call for mover and seconder, Mayor Edie.
Mover, please. Councillor Sidney, seconded by Councillor Hines. Again, do we want to ask Director Hill to give us a short interpretation of this report?
Yeah.
Yeah, please, if you don't mind, Director Hill.
Your Worship, would you like me to just talk about each motion at that time, or go through, how would you prefer that to be handled?
Each motion would make sense.
Really, there's not a whole lot to talk about until you do get to the motions.
Sure.
You explained if we read the motions, they got to there, then you could explain each motion if that would be better, maybe.
Yeah, just a little before we do get Clerk Bulmer to read the first motion. Just to follow up to our last Tuesday's council meeting. From that council meeting, council was looking for clarity. At that time, we met on Friday, the Parks Rec and Facilities Committee, and discussed the motions and discussed where the further explanation was required on each of the following motions. And what the direction was at the Rec Committee meeting was to prioritize the motions and work through them in sort of chronological order of importance to deal with those motions. So we looked at each motion, we identified what needed to be addressed, and following that meeting, we did offer to meet, or I did offer to meet with the members of the tennis club, which we did yesterday. Jordan Wall and myself met with representatives of the tennis club executive to address and talk about what's being presented this evening. And based on our meeting, I thought it went well, and you know, we had some good dialogue. And today we are in receipt of a letter from the president of the tennis club, which we can talk later as we work through the motions. But other than that, I think we're looking to clarify some unanswered questions this evening, and have council deal with the motions in order if we could.
Okay. Any questions on the report? Okay, reading none, all in favor, accept the report. Okay, that's carried. Okay, the next motion, please.
Okay, the next motion is that Ramford Town Council authorizes staff to commence demolition of the existing tennis courts on October, or commencing October 25th, 2021.
Okay, we need a mover for that, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Jamison. Turn it over to Director Hill to speak to that motion.
Yeah, and we did slightly alter the motion. I know that it was raised by the tennis club that they have some personal properties located on and around the courts. It does give us a few days to contact, you know, the people that will be doing the demolition. So I felt that you know, starting next Monday would be adequate notice, and we do want to, while the weather is still nice, we want to look at commence demolition. So that's the motion.
Questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Hines.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to speak to this motion, first of all, when we do vote on this, I would ask for a recorded vote. And I just want to say that certainly the tennis club have expressed their thanks and recognition to the director and to the committee for taking the time to meet with them. And this being the demolition of the 4 courts that are there now, we've had much discussion on that and back and forth with certainly the rec committee, council members, and the director of recreation. And the club certainly recognizes that it's time to move on. We've discussed that. What's happening is the courts are being demolished and there are going to be 6 new courts. And I take it that the Ramford Tennis Club have embraced that they move on with how things will happen with the new court. So I just thank everyone who's involved and took the time to even listen to that. So that would be the Recreation Committee, members of council, and certainly Director Hill.
Okay, any other comments or questions on this? Okay, hearing none. We'll ask for the calling of the vote then, please.
Okay, so this is a recorded vote on the motion. I'll read again. The Ramford Town Council authorizes staff to commence demolition of the existing tennis courts on October 25th, 2021. Calling of the recorded vote, Councillor Koulis,
In favor.
Councillor Hines,
In favor?
Councillor Jamison,
In favor.
Councillor Sydney,
In favor.
Mayor Eady.
I'm in favor.
The motion is carried. Thank you. If I can, I'll move to the second motion. The second motion is that the tennis court facility fencing be deemed surplus and allow Horton Township to remove it at their own expense for use at their outdoor rink.
Mover, please. Councillor Sidney, seconded by Councillor Jamison. Again, maybe a little explanation on that, Director Hill.
Yes, it's something that we have a great deal of fencing there that is still has some useful life. I believe that Horton Township has been contacted and is interested in the asset. I think it's going to great use to one of the premier indoor or covered outdoor rinks in our area, a rink that our residents are able to enjoy. And I think it's going to a good home, and looking forward to seeing it installed for the upcoming season.
Any other comments? Councillor Hines.
Your Worship, I have to say that I will be certainly voting in favor of this. And once again, as I asked, a recorded vote. But I think this is the perfect use for this. And I know you and I had that discussion. You had the foresight to see that the fencing is still very good and could be put to use instead of just being hauled away. So I think that that certainly Horton Township is very pleased with that. It'll keep the pigeons out of the rink, seeing that they don't have their skates on, and other people will certainly benefit from them not roosting in the ceiling of that outdoor rink. So again, I think it's a great asset that we are gifting to the Horton Township.
Okay, any other questions or comments? I'll speak to this just a wee bit. It's pretty much the perfect fit. There's a better part of almost 600 feet of fencing, plus the gates there, and that's exactly what they need to cover their rink in Horton. This is not just a benefit to the township of Horton, it's a big benefit to the town of Renfrew, because we really don't have an outdoor rink right now in place. We do have the oval, which is well widely used, but there's the township of Horton. They can rent that ice at a lot lesser cost than we can. So once young lads want to get together and go play some scrimmage or something, it's can be made very useful. So I know from my experience in Horton that kids from Renfrew probably use it more than kids from Horton when I was out there. So I think it's a benefit both ways, and I'll certainly be supporting it. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, then Clerk Wilmer will call for the vote.
Thank you. So I'll read the motion again, that the tennis courts, moved by Councillor Jemison, second by Councillor Sidney, that the tennis court facility fencing be deemed surplus and allow Horton Township to remove it at their own expense for use at their outdoor rink. So the calling of the recorded vote, Councillor Koulis.
In favor.
Councillor Hines.
In favor.
Councillor Jemison.
In favor.
Councillor Sidney.
In favor.
Mayor Edie.
I'm in favor.
The motion is carried. Thank you. I'll move on to the third motion now, that Renfrew Town Council authorizes staff to commence construction of 6 new courts utilizing quality contractors.
Mover, please. Councillor Koulis, second by Councillor Hines. Okay, Director Hill, you want to just do a little explanation on this one?
Yeah, and the reason for this recommendation is that we did seek 3 proposals from 3 contractors that construct tennis courts, and due to the costs that were presented, it is staff recommendation that we proceed with that work through the subcontracting process. We will be utilizing the experts to complete the surfacing and game markings, but we're going to be hiring local contractors to do the excavation, placing of material for the sub base. Our own staff will be running the conduit for the lights, as well as running the drainage to the Millennium Trail ditch. So we'll be utilizing local contractors, subcontracting this, and the cost saving will be approximately $500,000 to $550,000 by us doing it ourselves. So we'll be taking on this job and subcontracting the work in order to provide top quality tennis facility, lit, 6 courts with fencing similar to what is there now, and looking at a total cost of $600,000 to construct the 6 courts.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments on this? Councillor Hines.
Just a quick question to the director. There are going to be 6 courts, but 2 of them will be also used for pickleball, as I understand it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the second question I have in regard to the use of the local contractors and some of the work being done by town staff. I think that's great that town staff are expert in doing that. I'm just wondering, are those awarding of those contracts, is that just part of the whole project and it would be under the ad hoc committee, or would we see those contractor awards coming to the council table?
The intent at this time is to seek out through our procurement policy the different the different contractors. We will be securing quotations from the various trades, but it's something that we will be proceeding with. You know, a total expenditure of up to $600,000 utilizing those trades. We have presented a detailed budget to the Parks, Rec, and Facilities Committee. We have presented to them also the contractors that we have secured pricing from. We're looking at wanting to make sure that we are utilizing quality contractors to ensure a quality job. And we feel, staff at this point, with the cost savings that we were able to generate through subcontracting ourselves, that we don't want to go out to the open market on all aspects of the build, because we don't necessarily want the cheapest contractor in certain areas. We want to make sure that they've all had extensive experience doing this type of work. I will be keeping the Parks, Rec, and Facilities Committee updated through the monthly meetings, but it won't be something that I'll be bringing back each contractor quotation for council approval. But I will be keeping the Parks, Rec, and Facilities Committee very much in the loop if there's any issues whatsoever with the performing of the work that I've identified to them at previous meetings.
Okay, thank you for that. And it just the follow-up to that, in the financial comment, it says construction of the 6 new courts is included in the expansion project funding formula. So this was always there, but from the savings of locating the and from speaking to you, locating the cultural center where you have had to put it, that's where the savings are gained, that you're able to do this within the funding formula, correct?
That is correct. We also have placed a contingency. If you can recall the presentation on the funding formula, it provided a smaller contingency that would allow a 15-year payback, and then a larger contingency that would have a 20-year debenture secured. So depending on where the total build comes in at a final price, will determine at what length of debenture the project will have to be taken out at. But the funding for the construction of the new 6 courts is within the funding formula. It's been identified, and I'll be honest that if we're able to complete the work at the 550,000 and not use any of that contingency, like we put 50,000 in as a contingency to build the courts, then we'll be ahead of the game. So right now we're working with the local contractors to see availability, to see a costing. We now have the site plan that has identified the elevations, so we're able to get a more accurate price on all the components, and just trying to line everybody up to complete the work in a timely fashion right now is going to be our largest challenge.
Okay, thank you very much to you, your worship, to Kevin. Thank you for Director Hill. Thank you for those clarifications on those answers. And are you a grandpa? Don?
Yeah, it was a different call. Anyway, any other questions or comments? Councillor Janis.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, so we talked about actually doing 6 courts. We're doing 6 courts and talking about painting 2 of them for pickleball. But my question is this, is that something that we may consider closer to when you're painting those, that we would paint all 6 courts? since we're doing 2 of them, it would just make more sense to do all 6.
And right now, to respond to that question, right now we've committed to the pickleball group 2, and we have committed to tennis 4, but we have stated that if pickleball should increase in numbers, that there would be additional courts painted for them. And pickleball has been aware of that comment made to the tennis club as part of our meeting. So we're also looking at, and did look at yesterday, the opportunity of adjusting the courts for pickleball, because if we adjust them and run them east-west as opposed to north-south, we can place 2 pickleball courts on 1 tennis court. So I'm going to have conversation with both pickleball and tennis as we get closer to that time where we have to make those line decisions of how we're going to paint those. And that'll be a discussion we'll have with both groups, and we'll report back to council on the decisions we're going to make moving forward. But both groups have been told that as their membership grow, there could be courts expanded, and both are comfortable with that at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Councillor Hines, did you want this recorded vote?
Yes, please.
Okay, Clerk Bowman will have to call for the vote, please.
Thank you. So moved by Councillor Kulis, seconded by Councillor Hines, that Renfrew Town Council authorizes staff to commence construction of 6 new courts utilizing quality contractors. So the calling of the recorded vote, Councillor Kulis,
In favor?
Councillor Hines,
In favor.
Councillor Jemison,
In favor.
Councillor Sydney,
In favor?
Mayor Eady.
I'm in favor.
Motion is carried. So the next motion I'll read, that Renfrew Town Council approves the court membership fees and hourly rate charge as presented in Director Hill's report dated October 19th, 2021.
Okay, need a mover, please. Councillor Kula, second by Councillor Sydney. Turn it over to Director Hill for this report.
This is an area that has been discussed at length over the number of meetings that we've had. And, there's been a number of proposals that have been put forward and a number of proposals that have been back and forth. The recommendation of staff in the past has been that we just charge an hourly rate. Even on Tuesday night when we started our meeting at the Parks Rec and Facilities Committee meeting on Friday, I stated that it would be the easiest approach. The situation with the change and looking at affordability, looking at what we felt would best serve the current users of the facility, we did and will be recommending an annual court fee. And I know Councillor Hines and I talked prior to the meeting about, is a membership the right wording, and maybe it's just annual court fees, and we reduce eliminate the membership, and we go with the annual court fee. Looking at that, we had discussion with the executive yesterday, and their concern was that they would prefer that all persons playing on the courts would be ran through their club. They would like to have it where they're a member of the tennis club and they buy the court fee, the annual court fee. I told them I could not support that, but I would be letting council know of their wishes. So I have included that in the report. I also stated that this would be something that council deals with on an annual basis. There was a bit of confusion about the memorandum of understanding / service agreement to the annual review of our fees for service bylaw, but we review our annual fees for service bylaw with each department on an annual basis in March typically of every year. And council reviews and debates and approves the fees for service bylaw, generally the last meeting of March, because they come into effect on April 1st of each year. I do know that the tennis club has sent a letter to all of council today, looking for council to defer this motion. I can respect that, but I'm not sure what will be gained by delaying a decision that has to be made. We have to move forward. We have to look towards marketing and informing not only their membership, but also potentially the pickleball membership, as well as the general public, to let them know what it would cost to participate on those courts, whether they want to buy a court fee for the year or they wanted to pay an hourly fee per court to utilize those courts on an hourly basis. So looking at the court fee probably would have been the easiest, the best approach for us, because that's how we handle all of our facilities, with the exception of our fitness center. But understanding the complexity of change to the tennis club, that's why the rec committee has recommended the fees that are being presented here tonight of a junior membership or a junior court fee, annual court fee of $15, an intermediate court fee of $35, an adult court fee of $70, and a senior court fee of $65. What a club wishes to charge over and above those fees is entirely up to themselves. As stated in the meeting yesterday, I don't tell minor hockey what they're to charge, or minor soccer or minor ball. They do their budget based on what the costs are to operate their organization. They know what the fee is that they would be paying the town. So whether the fees were paid through the tennis club or directly to the rec center, the annual court fees to the town of Brantford would be as stated in the report. And if somebody just wishes to join with a couple of friends for an hour or 2 hours and wants to book the court, they can pay the $8 per hour court fee. I think it's a fair proposal. It does justify and generate the revenues that we're looking to generate on an annual basis to maintain these courts in a safe and playable manner. We did have a clear discussion with the tennis club, and the memorandum of understanding will identify our roles and their roles. And overall, I felt that the discussion has went well. I give credit to the rec committee for identifying the concerns of the tennis group by lowering the fees by $15 to accommodate the family rate that was proposed by the tennis club. I know that there's never a good fee to charge. I know there's never affordable fee to charge, but I feel there's a fair fee to charge, and that's what we've presented. Everyone will have an opinion, and I respect their opinions, but I do present these fees for your approval tonight so that we can move forward with drafting a memorandum of understanding, and hopefully tonight's motion will pass, as well as the fifth and final motion.
Okay, any questions or comments? Councillor Hines.
Sorry, me with my hand up again, but just to make sure this is all very clear, when we're talking about the review of the fees, and that usually happens on an annual basis in March, the fees that are set here, those would be in place for 2022. Is that correct? Because we were just beginning and we don't even have them started yet. So that would be 2022, and then they would be reviewed again for 23.
That's correct.
Yeah. And just to be clear about the fees that are listed here, and I will say that certainly by rechanging this part, you've more than explained how the fees are operated and the reasoning for. But just to be clear, if someone wanted to go out there and play, they're not a member, they haven't paid the annual court fee, they can go and rent a court for $8, play for an hour, or pay $16 and play for 2 hours. And they could have 2 friends with them, 1 friend, or 4 friends, the maximum that would be on a court. And that would be the same for the pickleball folks.
That is correct. It is not a per person on the court fees. So
Okay.
if 4 persons are playing, it would work out to $2 per hour, or if they
Yep.
want to play for an hour and a half, it'd be $3 or $4 if they wish to play for the 2
Okay.
hours.
So they're
we left it
not
Yep.
members of anything.
members of nothing. They would just
They could
pay.
be from anywhere. The second thing is, so there would not be an out of town fee for that, correct? That might be somebody just staying at their cottage and want to rent a court, whether it's pickleball or tennis.
That is correct. We don't offer an out of town rate for any of our hourlies. What we offer out of town rates for is any of our programs and memberships. So that's why we're keeping in the same line for the annual court fee.
And I appreciate your conversation with me in regard to the naming of that annual fee. I think when you put membership in there, it may confuse people that they're a member of the Renfrew Tennis Club when indeed they're paying a court fee because they're a person of the municipality or out of town. And you've certainly listed what those fees would be, the in-town rate and the out of town, and that would be so that they could go and experience tennis and play as many times as they want, whenever they want, maybe not in a structured type of league or anything. Whereas a membership in the Renfrew Tennis Club is separate and apart, where they will pay the municipal fee. Everyone except the occasional users that pay the $8 will pay the annual municipal court fee. Yes. And then over and above that, if you wanted to be a part of the tennis club, and they will be able to have a look at their fees and perhaps reduce them down a bit, because you are now taking on the costs that they used to pay, being the hydro, the nets, the repair, whatever is going to be a part of that agreement. And so everyone would pay if you're an adult, $70 plus whatever the tennis club sees fit that they would need to run their club. So if you join the club to be a tennis club member, you would be privy to what they offer, and that is the lessons, the leagues, the singles and doubles league, the tournaments, the morning group where it's low impact tennis, those kinds of programs that are set up through the Renfrew Tennis Club.
That is 100% correct.
Okay. And I do think it is very important about changing that word membership. And I thank you for your thoughts on that. And I'd like a recorded vote again.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Jamison and Councillor Coles.
Yeah, so just when I look at how, everybody else pays an hourly rate, whether it's for the soccer fields or whatever, like $8 an hour to utilize the courts, to me is really affordable. So I'm quite happy with the hourly rate here as well.
Okay, Councillor Coles.
Thank you, Your Worship. And thank you, Councillor Hines, for your overview of Ramford Tennis Club and its use of this facility for 40 years or whatever it was. I received today by email, as all councillors did, a correspondence from the Renfrew Pickleball Club. I'm, to say the least, I'm quite impressed. I did talk to other council members that did feel the same way, in that it is a very fast growing sport in Canada, and particularly in Eastern Ontario. And I wondered, if we hadn't got to this point where we're now debating the fact that we have to, bring the tennis courts into the realm of the town's operation, which it should have been right from the start, only because we have to move them. And, you know, social media is lit up with all kinds of very negative connotations towards this town council about why we're moving the tennis courts, why are we destroying perfectly good tennis courts. There's a lot of misinformation out there. We know that. And in order to get the full story, they have to do some reading and some research. I intend to see this to the end. I'd like to see it done tonight. I don't want it postponed again. I'm tired of it. I think the committee, of which I'm a member of, has beat this to death. We have listened, we have adhered, we've moved the rates, we've adjusted the rates. Once again, we've listened. We've had many debates about it. And I think tonight is the night we get this put away and we start a new chapter in these tennis courts in Renfrew. I do like one closing statement that was made here on this correspondence from the pickleball group, in that they would like to see the town, when the facilities are completed, they rename them the Renfrew Racket Facility. It is a racquetball type sport, of which tennis and badminton and numerous other table tennis and so on are all similar type sports. And this facility is going to be for all those sports and all those groups, not just the tennis club or the racquetball club, but all sports and all clubs. So we can regulate it and make it an all-inclusive sporting event and sporting facility. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Councillor Hines.
Your worship, sorry, I just have one more comment, and I hear what you're saying, Councillor Koulis. We have gone around the table many, many times with this, and I'm sure as a committee you are tired of dealing with it. If this is and really we need to put this to bed and get on with how we can look at things in the future. And previously, I would have supported that. I would not be in favor of this motion, but I think it is time we're not getting anywhere with this. We're burling our wheels in the sand, so to speak. And we need to sort out how the fees are going to be. And as I see it, there is an opportunity here to talk about this in the future. And that will be in 2022. And I think that that's where we need to go on this. So I will be supporting this motion.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Just from my point of view, as Councillor Koulis has stated, we've been through this a number of times now, and I make my decisions based on facts. And that's why I've done that all my life. And I've looked at this endways, sideways. I've met with different people, etc. And I felt from where we came from to where we are now, I find it to be very, very fair. It could be $5 one way or $5 the other way type thing, but I think it's a very fair proposal. It also gives the tennis club an opportunity to just run the tennis club and concentrate on that. And I think overall it's going to be a help to them down the road, in the sense that I know it's a little bit more money, but being able to concentrate on the club and the club itself, I think will be. I'm saying that I'm not a member by any means, but I think it will be a benefit to them in the long term of things. And there was one figure that really popped out at me, and that was we have to get the courts resurfaced. The stats say about once every 7 years, and we just had them done a couple 3 years ago. And it was $28,000 for the 4 courts, so $7,000 a court. So when you figure that out, 6 courts, it's not hard to figure it'd be well over $4,000 per year that's going to have to come out of these fees to help pay for that. So I think that alone means quite a bit. So at the end of the day, I'm comfortable with this. I understand from being as old as I am, I totally understand change is always a wee bit difficult. But at the end of the day, I think we need to move forward on this and get it done. So that's all I have to say on it. So maybe we'll call for the vote, please.
Thank you. Just for clarity, I did hear that the court membership fees, was it important to change it in the motion, which I could do that? So the mover was Councillor Koulis, second by Councillor Sidney. So was the change to be the annual court fees instead of court membership? Okay. Annual. Okay, so I'll read the motion as and with Councillor Koulis and Councillor Sidney's okay to for that amendment to annual court fees. The councillor moved by okay, good. Moved by Councillor Koulis, second by Councillor Sidney. The Ramford Town Council approves the annual court fees and hourly rate charge as presented in Director Hill's report dated October 19th, 2021. Recorded vote, Councillor Koulis.
In favor.
Councillor Hines.
In favor.
Councillor Jamison.
In favor.
Councillor Sidney.
In favor.
And Mayor Eady.
Favor.
The motion is carried. Thank you. And the fifth and final motion of the report, that a memorandum of understanding with the Ramford Tennis Club be presented to council prior to the end of the year.
Okay, mover, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Sidney. Turn it over to Director Hill for that report.
Appreciate it. We have, I think, through the number of meetings and the notes taken at the meetings, whether it be a Parks and Rec and Facilities Committee meeting, whether it be a council meeting or a meeting with the tennis group, or for that matter, a meeting with our pickleball group as well. We've taken a great deal of notes. We will draft a memorandum of understanding and present it to the Parks, Rec and Facility Committee for their review and approval. Then we will present it to both the tennis club and the pickleball group, and we will look for their edits and comments and return those to the Parks, Rec and Facilities Committee for edits. And once both parties are comfortable with a memorandum of understanding, then we will present it to council for their approval. What I do want to do is move forward on this as quickly as possible, as it's fresh in everyone's minds. It's something that I believe I received very clear direction from the committee to look at a 5-year agreement with the groups. And to that end, we will be working diligently to put that report together for the next Parks, Rec and Facility Committee meeting in November.
Okay, any other questions or comments on this? Councillor Hines.
First, I'd have a comment. I just want to say that ask Director Hill if this memorandum of understanding and agreement would be one for the tennis club and one for the pickleball. Yes.
That is correct.
And just one other question, and perhaps I should have asked this when you were talking about the court, the annual court fee, is that the groups with their membership in the pickleball or membership in the tennis club, and those two might be different numbers as a membership, but their court fees would be collected by the club and turned over to the recreation department. So it would be one simple fee, $70 plus whatever it is to be a member, and then that would suffice for the town.
That is correct. And what we have identified yesterday to the tennis executive is that we will require proof of residency through the photocopy of a driver's license, as well as all the pertinent information that goes into our booking system, which is our booking software for the recreation department, so that we will have a very detailed listing of all the members, all the court members, and then compare those to both the pickleball group and the tennis group, because there may be the odd person that comes in and pays their fees direct, and there'll be some confusion. We understand that, but it was understood at yesterday's meeting that we have no problem with the group collecting our fees, but we made it very clear that we would not be collecting their fees. And they were quite comfortable with that. They want to meet with the people to tell them all the perks and benefits of being a member of their club, and that's totally understandable. And we just need the adequate information to properly enter everybody into our booking system for recreation software.
Just one further follow-up to that. Some of those folks that may live in, let's say, Horton or Admaston and Bromley may be part of the user agreements that we already have through recreation. That would be correct, and they would be considered kind of a part B of in town because of the recreation agreements.
That is correct. Everybody who lives in Horton, Admaston and Bromley, Greater Madawaska, and McNabb Braeside would be considered an in-town due to the agreements that we have in place with their recreation, through their recreation agreement. So what we will be asking on the one questionnaire is what township you reside in, because someone who resides in Bonashire Valley or Whitewater or in Quebec or in Arnprior proper would be paying the out-of-town fees. So what we will be asking is where they pay their municipal taxes to, and that proof would come through their driver's license as well. So, we want to make sure that those that are partners of the town of Renfrew receive the benefit, and those that aren't will have to pay a 50% premium because their municipality is not a partner of the town of Renfrew.
Okay, and just to clarify, those agreements are looked at on a regular basis, so to speak, with new councils, et cetera. And the other point would be that when it comes to the tennis club or the pickleball club promoting their club and what the advantage would be as a membership, that might be something as simple as a one sheet handed out at the time of the payment of the municipal court fee, the annual municipal court fee.
That is correct, and we hope to work with all groups to promote the new fee structure. We will be through our municipal flyers, through our municipal minute on MyFM, through our Valley Heritage Radio, through our ad at the Eganville Leader, and through local media outlets, our social media, we will be promoting and assisting these clubs, because the more successful they are, the more successful we will be in seeing these facilities used to their capacity. So we will be working with these groups to assist them in promoting the benefits that they can provide to our residents and surrounding areas.
Okay, Councillor Koulis.
I might get the last word in here. Just to clarify now, I think Councillor Hines sort of, she confused me with the rates, and they're going to be collected by the club for their members. They're going to collect all the money?
Yep.
That's what it says in the report.
Yeah, in meeting, Councillor Koulis, in meeting with the group last night, they wanted to ask if it was possible, and I stated that it's totally possible for their group to collect the municipal court fees as long as we had the proper information presented to us with the funds to enter into our computer system. I had no issues with it whatsoever. Okay. I will say that it happens now with various hockey groups, that the various hockey groups will collect checks and have payable to town of Renfrew, and they'll bring them in and support them to us. So I didn't want to go against what we're doing with other groups and organizations. I wanted to treat everybody fairly and equitably, and the group did request it. And to be honest, it saves 240 people coming in to write 2 different checks or make 2 different payments. So I think it's going to work well, and with the proper paperwork in place, we will streamline it, and it'll work extremely well. So I'm comfortable with that.
I hear what you're saying, but how do you control that? You're going to control that by your key pass?
That's
Allow
correct.
them access to the courts if they register with the town?
Yes.
Otherwise, we have no control over how many people pay the tennis club and don't pay the town.
We'll know exactly who pays when, because we will be processing and submitting that, because until we receive payment from or the paperwork from the tennis club, we won't know who to allocate the key fobs to for access. So we will know everyone who's got access.
Okay.
We will provide those key fobs with their names and issue a number to those persons, because when that key fob comes back, we will get our key fob deposit back, whether it's $2 or $5, whatever the fee that we will charge for that. And when they hand it back in at the end of that year, they'll get their monies back. And if they're lost, we'll have to replace that. And I believe they're $3 or $4. So we'll probably charge a minimal $4 or $5 key fob deposit. But we will know exactly who are members. We will cross-check the group's membership, because I'll be honest, we've looked at every option of, how could somebody show up at the tennis court and, with a friend, they use the key fob to go in and go in and participate. Well, the tennis club is not going to allow them to participate in their leagues unless they are a member in good standing of both the club and the town. So I think working together with the groups, I think we will be far better off. And I'm looking forward to, there's going to be growing pains. I'm not going to hide that fact, but we are going to, I think, working with these groups, we will see the best numbers of participants by working together. And that's what our end goal is.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Hines.
One last clarification, and this will probably help you, Councillor Koulis, that I'm sure the key fobs will be one of the controlling factors, but indeed the tennis club was used to collecting the user fee for the municipality when we had user fees and didn't have direct agreements with Horton, etc. They had to pay whatever the user fee was and submit that to the town. So they're quite used to doing that. And I don't think there should be any problem there. I think the director has a good relationship with has established a good relationship now with the Ramford Tennis Club. And I think that, there will be growing pains, but I think we can make this work if we just get on with it.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Then we'll ask Clerk Bowman to call for the vote.
Okay, thank you. So I have a motion moved by Councillor Hines, seconded by Councillor Sidney, that a memorandum of understanding with the Redford Tennis Club be presented to council prior to the end of the year. I could call the recorded vote on that. Councillor Koulis,
In favor.
Councillor Hines,
In favor?
Councillor Jamison,
In favor.
Councillor Sidney,
In favor?
Mayor Eady.
I'm in favor.
Motion is carried. Thank you. So I turn it back to you, Mayor Eady. That's the end of our formal motions for reports. We just have confirming bylaw and adjournment, unless there's something else you want to cover.
I just want to, just on behalf of, I think all of council and especially committee, we want to thank Director Hill for doing all the behind the scenes work to pull this together. It's been a trying time for him at times, and as he's said many times, he's only taken or has taken the direction of committee or council, and has done his job. And so anyway, I think it's just like to say, Director Hill, a job well done. I understand it's been a bit of a trial for you, but then anyway, we got it done, and so thank you very much. And also thank you to the committee members. Let's say it was Councillor Coulis that said we had some pretty good discussions on this and whatever. And I think the longest rec meeting I've ever been at happened because of this tennis thing. And so that's what happened. And then see council come together on this is nice to see. So thank everybody. So moving on, I guess the other thing, next thing would be, is there any new or unfinished business? Okay, hearing none. The next then is the confirming bylaw.
Thank you. So that bylaw 69, 2021 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the town of Renfrew at the meeting held on October 19th, 2021, be read a first time and be deemed to have been read a second time.
Mover, please. Councillor Jamison, second by Councillor Hines. All in favor? Carried.
And we do have a motion for third reading that bylaw 69, 2021 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the town of Renfrew at the meeting held on October 19th, 2021, be read a third time and be passed.
Over, please. Councillor Coulis, second by Councillor Sidney. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we're now adjourned. It is 7:58. We're going to get